Pine Gap has been in Australia for 50 years. 2016 is the anniversary of the setting up of Pine Gap. And we say, in the anti-bases and IPAN movement, it's time for it to go. In the beautiful desert country belonging to the Aranda Aboriginal people, just 20 kilometres southeast of Alice Springs, in Australia's heart, you can find a collection of buildings and radomes, like huge white golf balls. This is the US military base called Pine Gap. Set up 50 years ago, Pine Gap is one of over 40 US military bases on Australian soil, which are central parts of the US warfighting machine. Pine Gap is one of the largest and most important United States warfighting and intelligence or spying base in the world. On June the 11th, in Town Hall Square, Sydney, we anti-bases activists from Sydney and IPAN activists from Sydney set up one radome. And we said the following about the radome. Nick Dean, spokesperson for the Independent and Peaceful Australia Network, said, "We hope our radome will make people curious about what is going on Australian territory at Pine Gap. We want people to ask questions about Pine Gap. In Sydney today, on Saturday the 11th, and in Alice Springs later in September, when IPAN will hold a conference with national and international speakers to mark the 50th anniversary of the agreement to set up Pine Gap. There's much that the public does not know about the activities that take place at Pine Gap. Pine Gap ties Australia into the American military machine and thus places our nation at risk. It provides a target for any enemy of America, regardless of whether or not Australia is the attacker's enemy. Pine Gap contributes crucial tracking and targeting information for US drone strikes across the globe. Thousands of civilians have been killed by US drone strikes. In Pakistan, for example, drones have killed, maimed and traumatized hundreds of men, women and children. The Pine Gap drone program, part of the CIA drone program, makes Australia complicit in war crimes. Pine Gap's activities have far-reaching implications for Australia's foreign relations, and we the people should know more about them than we currently are allowed to know," concluded Mr. Dean. 2016 is the year that we want to bring attention to Pine Gap, and we're asking people, all people of goodwill, to support this campaign in the following ways. You can support the call to close Pine Gap. You can send a delegate from your organisation to Pine Gap for the conference and protests. You can publicise the events taking place around the anniversary. Get in touch with IPAN or anti-bases for more information. You can receive an article from us for your organisation's newspaper. You can give financial support to the anti-bases campaign or IPAN. In all those ways, you can contribute to the world and this region being a peaceful place rather than a place from which and a base from which wars can be organised. The base is becoming more and more important because the United States made a fatal decision only a few months ago to spend $1 trillion on renewing its nuclear arsenal. And this gave the impetus to both to China and to Russia to improve their nuclear weapons. So we're almost back to a Cold War situation, a situation which used to be called mutually assured destruction. And Pine Gap is part of that, and it is time for it to close. Please come and help us with this campaign. We need as many Australians as possible to get behind this campaign so that we can have, as one of our organisations is called, an independent and peaceful Australia. And so that's why we are highlighting Pine Gap in 2016. If you can help in any way, get in touch. Check out the numbers that are on this video and get around this censorship that the media and our political parties engage in. Thank you.